Hello everyone, welcome to yoga. We are going to start seated this week. There we go. Phone was doing something funny. Had a screen up there that was blocking my view. We're going to start seated, and we're going to do kind of our normal warm up, and we'll do some sun salutations and stuff. But today I have a new little flow for you. So I want to make sure we're nice and warmed up before we do that flow. It's a really good flow for your core, strengthening your core. And so we'll make sure we're nice and warmed up and good for that, but it's kind of putting a bunch of stuff together, and we'll get our balance in there with that flow as well. So let's go ahead and start seated on our mat. And if you want, you can always be seated on your block. If that raising those hips up may help you with the knees, you may be able to get your knees down. It may be a more comfortable seated position for you. So that is totally fine if you want to start on a block. Sitting nice and tall. Find your good posture. And find your good breathing. Slowing that breath down, filling the lungs on the inhale, slowly emptying the lungs on the exhale. And while you breathe, taking a little inventory of how everything feels today. What feels good? What feels tight or achy? And then paying attention to that throughout your practice, listening to your body. Let's add our arms in with our breathing. So we're going to sweep those arms up on the inhale. And we're going to sweep those arms back down on the exhale. Let's do one more. And then we'll rest those hands on top of those knees. We want to keep our good posture, that nice straight spine. Let's circle around. Legs, the base stays still. Hinging forward at the waist. To come lower in the center. Try not to slouch around, keeping those shoulders back. If you feel yourself loosen up, maybe you can start to make that circle a little deeper, a little bigger. Let's reverse and go the other direction. One more time around, and we'll meet back in the center nice and tall again. Let's place that right hand down on the floor next to us. That left hand sweeps up. We're going to exhale as we reach over toward the side of the room. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, reaching over, lengthening that side, keeping that arm above you. You can't see it unless you were to turn your head and look up at it. Let's do one more on each side. And meeting back in the center. Let's grab on to the front of the knees or the front of the shins. We're going to inhale, rounding forward, and then on that exhale, we're going to lean back into this, holding on to those knees so we don't fall back. Inhaling forward, exhaling on the way back. If it feels good, you can sigh out that breath on the way back. Let's do one more. And we're going to take this one all the way down to our mats. Drawing those knees into the chest, hugging them in nice and close. A little side to side rock here. Let's release those feet down to the mat. Let's drop those arms out like a T. Let's take a nice big inhale while those knees are here in the center. And then as we exhale, dropping those knees to the right. Inhaling, knees center. Exhaling, knees to the left. Taking your time side to side with the breathing. Let's do one more on each side. We're going to meet with those knees back in the center, and now we're going to pick the feet up off the mat. We want those knees bent at about 90 degrees. We now want to engage the abdominals. We don't have the stability of the floor under our feet anymore, so abdominals are engaged, and we're going to lower those knees to the right. As you lower them down, you want to keep that left shoulder in contact with the mat. So your knees may actually be up here off of the floor to keep that left shoulder down. So if that's the case, you could always bring the block in underneath those knees to give the knees something to rest on. Holding and breathing here. So we're going to do some twisting in this flow that I talked about. So I thought it'd be a good idea for us to get a few twists in ahead of time to get us ready for that. On your next inhale, we're going to bring those knees up to center. You may want to take your block to the other side. Exhaling as we lower knees to the right. And we're trying to keep the back of the right shoulder now on the floor as those knees go to the left. Some nice deep cleansing breaths in this twist. On your next inhale, let's bring those knees back up to center. And exhale, let's hug those knees in again, pulling them in nice and close. And now we're going to bend the knees, open up those legs so the feet come out to the side, and you can either grab on your shins, your ankles, or you can grab on to your toes or feet for happy baby pose. So pulling down with those hands to help you pull those knees down closer to the body, closer to the floor, opening up the hips, opening up the inner thighs as well. Breathing. Maybe if it feels good, you could add a little rock in here. All right, releasing from happy baby, hugging those knees back in, and we're going to lift one arm above our head so we can roll onto that side, helping us come up, and we're going to find our way to our extended child's pose on our mat. Reaching out as far as you can through those fingertips in front of you, resting your forehead on the floor if it's comfortable. Breathing. And giving yourself permission. Anytime you need a break, a rest, you can always come back to this pose, to this child's pose. Let's add some movement. We're going to inhale as we rock forward, finding a kneeling plank, zipping the abs in. We're going to exhale as we stretch back where we were. Inhale, stacking shoulders over wrists, belly button pulled up toward the spine. Exhale, stretching back. So find that good, solid, modified plank, that good core stability. And when you're ready, we're going to add that arm strengthening move, that chaturanga, up and back. Zip those abs in, strong core here, elbows stay in close as you lower and lift and press back. I want to give you choices here. You can keep going, moving back and forth, or if you want a little challenge, you can try hovering at your low point, holding there. So hips are not touching, abs are not touching, chest is not touching, you're hovering. It should be hard. You might be shaking. And then let's have everybody meet back in that extended child's pose. We're going to turn that into our half series vinyasa. So let's inhale as we come out, exhaling as we lower down with control. Inhale, sliding forward into cobra. Exhale, pressing back. Let's do 3 more like that. Meeting back in our extended child's pose. let's find our way to our first downward facing dog. Tucking those toes under, we're gonna lift up. We're gonna press that tailbone back as we push that mat toward the front of the room, and then tipping that tailbone up nice and high. Let's go ahead and walk the feet. So leave softness in the knees, pressing through one heel and then the other. And now let's hold our downward facing dog, sending that tailbone up nice and high. And now let's go back and forth. We're going to find full plank, right back to downward facing dog. Moving slowly as you return to plank, controlling it, and then tipping that tailbone up high. Let's meet back in our downward facing dog. We'll turn this into our half series vinyasa. So inhaling into plank, you have the option to put the knees down here if you'd like. Exhaling as we lower chaturanga. Inhaling cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to down dog. Let's do 3 more like that. Meeting back in down dog. Softness in the knees. Let's go ahead and walk our feet up to our hands. If you need to grab your block and bring it in, that's an option. Easy forward fold. So softness in the knees, releasing the head and neck, the arms and shoulders relaxed. All right, on your next inhale, let's find half lift. Lengthening, flattening out that back, and then let's exhale, returning to that easy forward fold. Inhaling up, exhaling on the fold. Option to float those arms if you want, or you can always alternate them. Let's do one more half lift, and then we'll meet back in forward fold. On your next inhale, let's sweep it up to the top. And let's exhale as we swan dive, hinging at the hips flat back, softening the knees to reach to the bottom. Inhaling on the way up, exhaling as we swan dive. One more swan dive. Let's inhale up, and this time we're going to exhale as we sit back and find our chair pose. You can bring hands to heart center if you want. Remember, an inch or two in between the knees. Weight is back in the heels. Breathing. We're going to flow our chair. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, sitting back. Let's meet down in chair on this next one, bringing hands to heart center. You can stay here with weight in your heels, or that option to lift the heels and try that balancing chair. And let's go ahead and come on up, shake it out. Maybe grab a sip of water. Okay, so we're going to put all that together. And a lot of times in this sun salutation, I slow us down and stop us and have us hold certain poses or add poses in. But today we're just going to kind of fly right through it, because we're going to add that core flow that I was talking about earlier. And so when we get to that, we will stop and hold some of those. So we're going to move through this pretty quickly. So let's find our good mountain pose at the top of our mat. Spread those toes, roll the shoulders back, lift through the crown of the head. Shoulders are back, but let's reach through those fingertips, pulling those shoulders away from the ears. Let's inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, swan diving. Hands come down. And we're going to take our right knee back, our left knee follows, finding that extended child's pose. Moving through one vinyasa. We're going to step our right foot up. We're going to step our left foot up. We're going to inhale, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhaling into chair. Inhaling up. And we'll do the other side. Swan diving down. Hands come down. Left knee leads us back. Right knee follows. Finding extended child's pose. Moving through one vinyasa. Meeting back in child's pose. Bringing the left foot up to the top of the mat. The right foot follows. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhaling into chair. Inhaling up. And we'll swan dive it back down. Hands come down, this time stepping the right foot back for down dog. The left foot follows. Downward facing dog. Let's move through one vinyasa. Once in down dog, you can stay there, or sweeping that right leg up for a three-legged dog. And now you can either step or sweep the right foot to the top of the mat for our lunge. Our left foot comes up to meet the right. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling up. Exhaling, chair. Inhaling up, and we're going to go one more time through. Swan diving. Hands down. Left foot leads us back for downward facing dog. Let's do one vinyasa. Meeting back in down dog. You can stay here, or you can sweep that left leg up for a three-legged dog. And then stepping or sweeping that left foot to the top of our mat for our lunge, making sure you have ankle stacked under the knee, toes are out in front, and right foot comes up to meet the left. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling up. Exhaling, chair. Inhaling up. And exhale, bringing hands to heart center. I think that was the quickest that we've ever moved through our sun salutations. So hopefully you're feeling nice and warm. We're going to move on into this core flow. And some of them are quite challenging poses, so I want you to be ready for that. We're going to do some side planks. We'll be on one hand at certain times. We're going to add some twists in, which is really good for the core. The first 2 times through it, we'll do it on one side, then we'll do it on the other side. The first 2 times through, we're going to go very slowly, moving and holding each of the poses. And then we're going to do it again on each side, and we're going to do it much quicker, moving through it quickly. So maybe a good time to grab a sip of water real quick before we start this. So we're going to work hard, but we'll have a treat at the end, okay? All right. So let's start a mountain pose. We're going to inhale up. We're going to exhale and swan dive. And we're going to step back to our downward facing dog. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with a three-legged dog. So let's sweep that right leg up. Breathing and holding. And now we're going to keep this right foot lifted. We're not going to let it touch down. We're going to cross. We're going to bend this knee, and we're going to try to bring this knee toward the left elbow. Foot is up off the mat, unless you need to modify. And then we're going to turn this into a side plank. Option to leave this knee bent or to take this leg out straight. Challenging, tough one. We're going to find our way back to a plank. And now we're going to turn and lift the other arm up off the mat for a side plank. And we're going to take our top foot and bend that knee so we can rest that foot on our bottom calf. I'm going to turn for a moment and show you what that looks like from the side. And then let's find our way back to plank. And now we're going to round our spine as we pull our right knee toward our nose, rounding up, stepping back to plank. And now we're going to pull our right knee up so that our right foot comes up in between those hands for our lunge. So we were already here once. Let's make sure we have this good alignment, knee over ankle. And we're going to lift those hands up. So if this balancing lunge is too challenging, you can always stay with those hands on the floor. That is totally fine. We're going to turn this into a twist. Palms come together at heart center, and we're going to turn and hook that elbow on the outside of this knee. Breathing through your twist. Let's bring it back to center. We're going to reach those arms up. A challenging move here. So it's challenging to do it with one step, but don't feel bad if you can't get it in one step. We're going to pull the back foot up in front of us into a balance. So if you need to take 2 steps to find your way here, that is totally fine. Okay? Balancing here, breathing. So this is our balance posture for the day. One of them, we're going to add a little twist here. We're going to take our hand on the outside of the knee, opposite hand on the outside of this knee, and the other hand reaches back, and we're trying to find our twist. You can stay here with this knee bent, or if you want more challenge in this pose, you can reach for those toes and straighten this leg in this twist. All right, let's find our way back where we were. We're going to come down, so those hands are going to come down as that foot steps back. We're back in our lunge. We're going to place left hand down in front alongside this right foot, and right hand reaches up. Another twist. Hand sweeps down, and we're going to step the right foot back for our downward facing dog. So this is where we started. We're back to the beginning. So we did all of that on one side. We're going to do all of that on the other side. So if you need to take a little break here, you can always drop down to your knees, or you can stay in this down dog. We're staying here for a couple of breaths anyway. Okay, so here we go. Our left leg sweeps up for our 3-legged dog. Breathing. Your challenge is to try not to set the left foot down as we pull that left knee toward the right elbow. And then we're going to turn this into side plank. Turning to the side, lifting that right hand. You can leave this knee bent, or you can take that leg out straight. Let's find our way back to plank. And then we're going to turn to the other side for our side plank. And again, maybe bringing that top foot to rest on top of the bottom calf. Turning that top knee to point up to the ceiling. And let's find our way back to plank. Let's find our way to down dog. And now we're going to pull that left knee toward our nose, rounding that spine, stepping back to plank, and then we're going to step that left foot up in between the hands, finding this good lunge. So be sure to find your good alignment. That ankle stacked right underneath the knee, toes are out in front. An option to sweep the hands up here. Bringing hands to heart center, we're going to twist, hooking that elbow on the outside of that knee, pulling that left shoulder back, breathing. Bringing it back to center. This is that tough move where we're going to try to bring that right foot up off the floor without touching it down. But remember, if you need to take that step, that's totally fine. Balancing here, so be nice and tall, abs zipped in. And now we'll add our twist. So we're going to reach opposite hand to the outside of that knee. Other hand reaches back, seeing if you can turn your head and look back at that hand. You can stay here, or maybe you see if you want to straighten that front leg. Let's bring it back to center. We're going to sweep those arms back up, and we're going to take that big step back with this foot. Hands come back down for our lunge. Right hand comes down alongside the left foot. Left arm reaches up. Gazing up at that hand up above you. Opening the chest. Let's sweep hand back down, both hands down in their spots, and we're going to sweep the left foot back to find our way back to downward facing dog where we started. Resting here, so you can rest in down dog. You can drop down to your knees and rest in extended child's pose. That's an option. Some nice deep breaths. So now we're going to move through that all very quickly. Instead of holding each one, we'll move much quicker as we go along. All right, our three-legged dog, sweeping that right leg up. We're going to pull that right knee to the left elbow, trying to keep that right foot up off the floor. We're going to turn this into a side plank. You can leave that leg bent or you can take it out straight. We're going to find our way back to plank. And then we're going to try that side plank on the other side, maybe setting that top foot on top of the other leg. Finding our way back to plank, pulling that nose toward the right knee, rounding up through the spine, stepping back to plank. Right foot picks up and sweeps through. Find your good lunge. So we take a second. We want to make sure we have that good alignment. Toes are out in front, knee stacked over ankle. Option to sweep those arms up. Let's find our twist. Hands come back to center, up or holding at heart center, back down. I messed that up. Whoops, we're okay, I didn't mess it up too bad. Hands are back up. This is where we're going to try to step forward and find that balance. Let's add the twist. Hands back up in the center. We're going to sweep arms down as we step that foot back to our lunge. Left hand comes down, right arm reaches up. This last twist here. Right hand sweeps down, left hand back out for its spot, and we're going to step back to find our downward facing dog. There we have it. There was one side fast, so now we're going to do the other side fast. Take a few nice deep breaths here, either resting in down dog or child's pose. All right, let's sweep that left foot up our three-legged dog. And let's draw left knee toward the right elbow. Flipping over into our side plank. Finding our way back to plank. We're flipping to the other side for side plank. Option to rest that foot on top of the calf. Finding our way back to plank. Left knee to the nose, rounding through that spine. Stepping back for plank. Sweeping that left foot to the top of our mat. This is where you take a second, find that good alignment. So if you need to come up or you need to take a couple of steps to get there, that's totally fine. Breathing. Option to sweep those hands up. Let's find our twist. Back to center, hands up. I'm not going to mess it up this time. We're going to try to step forward, press through to find that balance. Let's add that twist. Back to center. We're going to sweep those arms down as that foot reaches back. Right hand down, twisting again, left arm reaches up, opening that chest, looking up. Sweeping that arm down, hands are back to their spot for down dog, and we'll step it back. And we're done finding our way to down dog. And now we'll all drop down onto those knees and find our way back to a child's pose. And let's slowly come up, and we're going to swing those legs around out in front of us for our staff pose. So, zipping the legs together, let's flex those feet, sit up really straight and tall. That was a tough flow, a challenging flow, but as you could probably see, really good for core strength, core stability, with all of those added twists in, with the balance postures added in. So kind of a fun one to work on your core strength, but a challenging one. So if you struggled with it, no worries. It was a tough one. All right. Staying tall here. Let's bring the soles of our feet together. And we're going to take our hands behind us and we're going to try to push those knees down as we push our body closer to those feet. Now roll those shoulders back. Let yourself kind of lean back into these hands here at first. Maybe letting those feet fall open like the pages of a book. A lot of times we get really tense here and we press those feet into each other, and look what happened when I did that. As soon as I pressed those feet together, my knees went up. If I release the feet, if I relax the feet, those knees drop down. So think about trying to relax the feet, see if you can get those inner thighs to open up. And now we're going to take one hand out from behind us and maybe very gently adding a little bit more to this stretch by pressing that knee closer to the floor. And we'll switch and do the other. And and now coming back to center. And so now taking those hands from out behind you and bringing them to the feet. So typically when you do that, the knees will come up some, but here's where we're going to kind of play with this a little. See if you can give yourself like a little foot massage while you're sitting here. See if you can get those feet to open up and to let those knees relax back down. Now the first thing that happens here is when we move those hands out from behind us, a lot of times we go like this and we slouch and round into this. That's not good for us. Try to stay nice and tall. Keep the chin lifted, keep the chest lifted, looking up. Work with the breath. All right, we're going to keep our right foot pulled in right here. We're going to take our left leg out to the side, straightening it. So we'll do a little kind of a half-seated, revolved forward fold here. So we're going to reach our left hand. We're going to reach toward that left foot, trying to bring that elbow closer to the floor. As we reach this top arm up, and then over. So you should feel a nice stretch along the side of the body, maybe some sensation on the inner thigh of this long leg. And let's bring it back up to center. We'll switch out those feet. So reaching that elbow toward the floor. It does not have to touch the floor. It can be up here. And then that other arm reaches up and over, lengthening this whole side. And let's come up slowly. Okay. So we worked really hard. I promised you a treat. We're going to go legs up the wall, and we're going to bring our strap with us. Okay? So go ahead and find your way to a wall. Put the short end of your mat right up against the wall. I'm going to change the camera angle a little bit. There we go. Okay. Get comfortable. Scoot as close to the wall that is comfortable for you. If you're all the way against the wall and that feels not comfortable or it feels like too much stretch in the back of your legs, and scoot away from the wall a little bit. We're going to grab that strap. We're going to bend the right knee so we can hook the strap on our right foot, and we're going to pull that right leg away from the wall. At first, this leg is staying straight. Just let the weight of your arms and hands on this strap add to that hamstring stretch. Nice deep breaths. We're trying to let that hamstring release and relax, so good breathing. And now we're going to walk those hands just a little bit further up the strap, and we're going to bend this knee. We're going to pull the knee out to the right a little bit, out to the side to try to avoid the rib cage, and we're going to try to pull that knee down toward the right shoulder. And let's press that leg back up straight. We're going to put both sides of the strap in our right hand, and we're going to take this leg out to the side to open up that inner thigh. add some bend and softness back into this knee as we pull it back up to the top. And then we'll put that foot against the wall, we'll switch and put that strap on our other foot. So we'll first just start by pulling that foot away from the wall, breathing. And now hands reach up higher on the strap. We'll bend that left knee, pull down on that strap, trying to pull that left knee to the left shoulder. Left leg goes back up straight, both sides of the strap with the left hand, and we'll let that leg fall out to the side to open up the inner thigh. Let's put some softness back in that knee as we bring it back to center. We'll release the strap. Both feet rest against the wall. And now this is where you want to get comfortable. So finding that spot that's comfortable for your arms, the rest of your body. So you could have arms crossed over your abdomen or chest. You could have arms along your sides. You could take arms over your head. You could frame your face and grab opposite elbow. Now as those feet are up the wall, this is really good for the feet and the legs. It's good for the blood flow, the vascular system in the legs. But if you get to a spot where your feet are tingling and it hurts, then give yourself a little break, give yourself a rest. Take those feet down from the wall for a moment, and then when you're ready to go back up, you can. Return to that breath. Nice, deep, slow inhales and exhales. Feel the rise and fall of the chest and abdomen. Feel the lightness in the feet and the legs, and just relax. awareness back. Let's start by wiggling the toes, encircling the ankles, waking those feet back up. And then we're going to let those feet just slide down the wall, drawing those knees into the chest. We'll release one arm above our head so we can roll slowly onto that side and use that other hand in front of us to press down, to come up slowly so we protect that low back as we come up. And we'll find our way back to seated where we started today. Finding that good posture again. Let's either clasp hands behind us or reach for the opposite elbow or the opposite forearm. We're going to hinge forward to Yoga Mudra, sealing in all the benefits of our practice today. And releasing slowly as we take a great big inhale, sweeping those arms up. Palms pressed together, exhaling hands to heart center. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend, and a strong core. Namaste.